Welcome back to day 2. Our Bible point is how Jesus' power gives us hope. And our Bible story is about Paul and how he encouraged others in a storm and a shipwreck. Our verse from Psalm 31 verse 24 says, "So be strong and courageous, all you who put your hope in the Lord." Yesterday we heard that God asked Ananias to go visit Saul. Now Saul wasn't kind to Jesus' friends, and Ananias was afraid. But Jesus helped Ananias obey even though it was hard, because Jesus' power helps us do hard things. Saul went from being Jesus' enemy to being Jesus' friend. When people saw how much Saul had changed, they started calling him Paul instead. So now in this story tonight, you're going to hear me use the name Paul, and that's the same person that we're talking about. After Paul became a friend of Jesus, he started telling everyone about Jesus' love. But there were still a lot of people who didn't like what Paul said. The Bible tells us that people put Paul in jail. So the same thing that he had been doing to Christians, now they did to him. He was sent to see a king for a trial. That meant that Paul had to go on a ship to sail where the king lived. While they were sailing, a huge storm came. The storm pushed their ship way out into the ocean, far away from where they needed to go. It lasted for 14 long, scary, hopeless days. For 14 days, they didn't see the sun or the moon or the stars, just the clouds and the wind and the rain. The sailors were so afraid. They thought the ship was going to sink and they were all going to die. They threw anything they could into the water to make the ship lighter. The men were so busy trying to keep the ship from sinking that no one ate anything that whole time. They lost all hope. They didn't think that they'd ever be safe again. But then an angel came to Paul and told him that Jesus would protect them. Jesus' power gave Paul hope, and Paul trusted Jesus. Paul shared that hope with the other men on the ship. He told them Jesus had sent an angel who promised him everyone would be okay. The ship was going to sink, but everyone would make it to shore. Paul told the sailors they should eat something so they'd have the strength they needed. Paul thanked Jesus for some bread and ate it. He gave some to the other men, and they all ate and felt better. Jesus' power gave them hope. The next morning, they saw land. The ship couldn't get there, so the sailors had to swim to shore. When they got to shore, they counted to make sure everyone was there. All the men on the ship made it safely too, just like Jesus had promised. Being in that storm must have been scary for the men on the ship. But Paul knew someone who's more powerful than any storm, Jesus. And Jesus' power gave him hope. Sometimes sad or scary things happen to us too. When we feel sad or scared, it's a bit like being in a dark tunnel. It's hard to see anything good coming our way. But Jesus helps us see that we're not always going to be in the dark tunnel. He shows us light coming at the end of the tunnel. That's hope. Jesus' power gives us hope. Now this next song is called "In You Alone," and it reminds us of what hope can do for us.
God of heaven and earth, you are amazing. You hold me up with your hand, you give me faith, and I will put my hope in you alone, in you alone. God of heaven and earth, you are amazing. You hold me up with your hand, you give me faith, and I will put my hope in you alone, in you alone.
I will put my Glad you're back on track at Rocky Railway. Wow, the first day just flew by, didn't it? I'm Ava, a red-tailed hawk. You can find me and my family members all over North America. We're everywhere. Even though we live all across North America, you may not see me in your backyard. Well, unless you don't have any neighbors. We like to live in wide open spaces where we can soar over treetops, grass, and water looking for food. You might say that red-tailed hawks are faithful friends. When we find a mate, we stay together for life. My fine feathered friend and I build our nest together and care for our chicks together. We're an excellent team. I'm happiest way up in the sky. That's why I build my nest at the tallest point I can find. Some hawk nests have been spotted as high as 120 feet off the ground. That's as high as a human tower of 20 tall crew leaders. My nest might be at the tip top of a tree, or even on the top of a building or a telephone pole. That gives me a bird's eye view of what's around: food, friends, or animals that might want to hurt us. I love soaring with my big, beautiful wings. They're more than 3 feet across, you know. God gave me just what I needed to catch the wind and just fly. Up here, you see things differently. Stuff that seemed big seems smaller. Things that seemed harder look much easier. A path that looks like a dead end, hey, I can see a way out. A fresh perspective can put the wind under your wings and give you the strength to keep going. Sometimes I spot you humans with my sharp hawk eyes, and you look a little down. Do things seem impossible? Scary? Hopeless? Maybe you need a fresh perspective. Maybe you need to see things Jesus' way, with hope. Jesus is stronger than anything. He has a plan for everything. You can have strength, courage, and hope. The Bible encourages us with these words. So be strong and courageous, all you who put your hope in the Lord. Jesus' power gives us hope. So trust Jesus.
Welcome back to Imagination Station. I can't wait to see what amazing things we'll discover today. So, to start our time together, I have a question for you. Who remembered their imagination today? Looks like lots of people forgot. Well, that's okay. It's only day 2. I thought some people might forget, so I talked to my friend Ava for ideas. I think you met Ava, the red-tailed hawk? Anyway, Ava told me something incredible. God is so imaginative that he created red-tailed hawks with a unique, one-of-a-kind creative call. Let's close our eyes and imagine we're red-tailed hawks on the top of a big, beautiful mountain, and we're about to take flight. Everybody, close your eyes. All right, open your eyes. That was so cool. Ava has an amazing call. Now that our imaginations have taken flight, let's move on. Red-tailed hawks have great eyesight, but can they see colors? Or can they only see black and white? Think about your answer. Okay, let's make a drum roll so I can reveal the amazing answer. And the answer is red-tailed hawks can see colors. In fact, they can see more colors than humans can. Imagine that! Well, I can see that your brains are bubbling with imagination. So let's see what we can discover about those bodacious things called bubbles. Just look at these bouncy bubbles. Aren't they cool? They float, they fly, and they even have colors inside. Bubbles make me happy because they remind me of hope. Hope lifts my spirit like bubbles lift into the air. And bubbles are beautiful, just like the hope we have in Jesus is beautiful. Today, every time you see a bubble, remember that Jesus' power gives us hope. Trust Jesus. Did you know bubbles are actually made from a layer of water between 2 layers of soap film, like a soap sandwich? No matter how a bubble starts out, if you leave it alone, it will always form a sphere, a perfectly round shape. Does anyone know why bubbles always form spheres? A bubble wants to be a sphere because that shape has the least amount of surface tension of all possible shapes, cubes and pyramids. A sphere has the smallest amount of outside area. That's why bubbles all want to be round. Imagine that! You know, today's sciencey fun gizmo includes a couple of spheres, but they won't burst like bubbles. I can't wait to show you. Today, we're discovering that Jesus' power gives us hope. Trust Jesus. I don't know about you, but I really need the hope that Jesus gives us. Like we just saw, bubbles rise into the air when we blow into the bubble solution. Today's sciencey fun gizmo kind of reminds me of bubbles, but it's way more fun. This, my friends, is called a hope and hover. I love how it works. Watch this. Sometimes when I'm feeling a little down, I need to remember the hope Jesus gives us. The hope Jesus gives raises my spirits and makes me feel better. And sometimes another person might be feeling down, and I can tell that friend about the hope we have in Jesus. Then the hope Jesus gives can make my friend feel better. And other times, I can celebrate with my friend that we both have hope in Jesus. We can thank Jesus together for the hope he gives us, and it lifts us both up. Now it's your turn. Your fun hope and hover can remind you that Jesus' power gives us hope. Trust Jesus. Don't touch the hope and hovers just yet. We'll assemble them together, okay? Let's lay out all of your supplies. You should have 2 white spheres, 1 blue plastic loop, and a cardboard flute. I've decorated my cardboard flute with markers. I also drew faces on my spheres to remind me of my friends. To assemble your hope and hover, first take the cardboard flute. Find the square-shaped hole on the flute. Grab your blue plastic loop and insert it into the square-shaped hole. Make sure that you align the loop so that the circles on the cardboard flute are coming through directly center. Then grab your spheres. Carefully balance them in the blue plastic loop, and you're ready to experiment with your hope and hover. If you'd like for both of the spheres to rise together, hold the flute without covering up either of the holes. If you would like one sphere to rise, cover one of the holes with your finger. If you'd like the other to rise, cover the other hole. Sometimes we're up and sometimes we're down. The hope Jesus gives us can always lift us up, and we can share the hope we have in Jesus with our friends and family members. Then they can be lifted by the hope of Jesus too. Jesus' power gives us hope. Trust Jesus. Now it's your turn to experiment with your hope and hover. Have fun. When it's time to come back, you'll hear the train whistle. Have fun. Well, we've come to the end of our time at Imagination Station. Take your hope and hover and put all of the pieces inside a baggie. That way none of them get lost. If you have a Try This at Home sticker, it reminds you of the daily Bible point. Jesus' power gives us hope. Trust Jesus. All right, we'll see you next time here at Imagination Station.
We trust in you, Jesus. journey, there's no looking back. With Jesus to lead us, we're on the right track. Oh, 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 oh. Wide open spaces for wide open eyes. We're looking ahead for the next big surprise. Oh, 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 oh. We trust in you, Jesus. You're all that we need. Your power will pull us through. We're trusting in you. We're trusting in you. You give us hope and life that's forever. You make us whole and we stand together. Your power will pull us through. We're trusting in you. We're trusting in you. We're off on this journey, there's no looking back. With Jesus to lead us, we're on the right track. Oh, 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 oh. Wide open spaces for wide